There's a muscle at the clinic that's our number one go-to for neck and shoulder pain. And today I want to explain how and why it has such a massive impact on the neck and shoulders. If you've watched my neck and shoulder pain videos before, you know I'm often recommending the door frame stretch and opening the front of the body. But today we're going to go into detail about what muscle we're targeting and why it has such a big impact on the body, or the number one muscle that we target when we're looking at balancing the neck and the shoulders. This video is for you if you love learning some of the nitty-gritty about why and how the body works and like the balance and the muscles, or if you like to be able to picture in your mind the muscle that you're targeting when you're doing a stretch. By the end of the video, I hope that you'll be convinced that anything you're doing for neck and shoulder pain starts with checking and stretching this muscle. Hi, welcome back. My name is Catherine. I'm the founder and principal therapist of LSM Clinic, a sport and remedial massage therapy clinic in East London. In this channel, I share information about how the body works and simple self-care tips so you can be pain-free or as close to it as possible. If you like this kind of video, I'd love it if you would subscribe, put a like on the video so more people will see it, and if you'd like to get free self-care emails to your inbox, there's a subscription below where I send new videos, old videos, and just stuff that I only send in email. And if you'd really like to learn about the neck and shoulders, I have an entire guide that is the guide to neck and shoulder pain, and it has everything that you need to know, at least I think, and that link will be below as well. So, talking about pec minor, which is kind of like a secret muscle for, like a secret weapon muscle for neck and shoulder pain. Let me tell you one of the trends that we often see at the clinic, right? Someone will come to the clinic with years of neck and shoulder pain. It might be that they're having trouble raising their arm out to the side or doing a shoulder press, or putting their, trying to take on or put off a shirt. They might have a persistent pain and ache at the top of the shoulders, back of the neck. They might have trouble turning their head, rotating their head side to side. And these people have often tried a bunch of different stuff. They've often been stretching the shoulder muscles at home where there's pain, like we talked about in last week's video. They're often trying to strengthen their rotator cuff because they've been told that their rotator cuff is weak for them to have this kind of shoulder pain when they're doing the shoulder press, for example. Or they go and get a deep tissue massage where they really focus on their upper traps and between the shoulder blades and the neck to try and get rid of that tension. And nothing sticks. Right? So often they're coming to us, they've tried a bunch of different things and they're feeling discouraged because not a lot works. So one of the first things we always do is we go to pec minor and pec major, but pec minor. We release it, we retest. They stand up and feel more relief than they have felt in a long time, if ever. Now, why is that? As you've seen in a lot of my other videos, especially if you watched the one last week, which talks about a common mistake that people make with neck and shoulder pain, and that link is in the description, you need to be putting your body in balance to get long-term relief from a problem, right? And that means for neck and shoulder pain, addressing the tension in the front of the body, which yes, there's pec major in the front of the body. There's lats that attach to the front of the shoulders. There's serratus anterior. We have the sternocleidomastoid, also known as the SCM. We have the anterior scalenes. Those are all important. But pec minor specifically is like a jump start to helping neck and shoulder pain, and I want you to understand why. You see, pec minor, as you can see in this image, is in a very strategic position when it comes to messing with or interfering with the alignment of the body. So this is a picture of the shoulder blade. You can see that there's a knobbly bit on the shoulder blade on the front of it. So this is the front of the shoulder blade. That's called the coracoid process, right? So the coracoid process is something like around here, but it's kind of like underneath the upper traps, behind the clavicle. And that's where pec minor starts. And then it goes down to the third, fourth, and fifth ribs, which you can see in this picture. When a muscle is tight, the two ends of the muscle are being pulled towards each other. And usually the heavier part, or the muscle, the side of the muscle that's attached to the heavier part of the body is not the one that moves, right? So if you have your rib cage, which has like all your organs in it, it has your lungs, it's attached to your torso, that is arguably a lot more stable and heavy than your shoulder blade, which has a lot more mobility, right? It's not as kind of held down. So when we get pec minor tightening, we usually have that coracoid process being pulled up and over the rib cage and then down. So we get this kind of effect, right? With the shoulders. Now, I am exaggerating, but even just a little bit of tension there can really affect our mobility. So here's where we get interactive, because I want you to be able to feel what a massive difference your shoulder position as it relates to pec minor being tight can have on your function and movement in your upper body. So the first test I'm going to give you is lifting your arms up. So we're going to do this. You can also, if you want, practice this, like try this one, but we'll say this one, right? So if we imagine that your pec minor is tight, and we are going to exaggerate for effect, go ahead and bring your shoulder up, over, and down like this. So you've really got this exaggerated shortening of pec minor specifically. Now I want you to try to lift your arm. Do you see how hard it is to lift your arm when you're in this exaggerated position? Now, if we go closer to ideal alignment for the body, which is the shoulder blade on the back, kind of coming in a diagonal towards the spine, lifting the chest a little bit, right? So we're not sunken through here. Try not to arch the back too much, because really we don't want to arch the back when we're in ideal posture. You raise your arm and it's much easier. Now, I really want you to try it, because I can show this to you and you can be like, oh, you know, she's just doing it to prove her point. But if you actually try it, you will feel the difference it makes if your shoulder is being pulled like this versus if your shoulder is being pulled like this. Now, let's do neck rotation, but let's do it backwards. So instead of having the pec minor in a shortened position first, let's try to have a good position. So bring your shoulder blades down your back so that they're kind of flat on the back. Try not to arch the back. Allow your breastbone to lift up just a little bit, and rotate your neck. Now, even if you have limited neck rotation already, just try this. Look at your shoulder to see where you land. Look how far behind you can see. That's with like better position, right? Now, imagine that your pec minor is pulling your shoulders up, over, and down like it would if it was really, really tight, and try to rotate your neck. Okay, so I can still go a bit far here, but like it's not as much as when you're in ideal position, right? And you can also just see like how this position naturally pushes your neck forward. And if your neck is not aligned on itself, of course that rotation, that tracking on those vertebrae are not going to be as good as if your alignment is better. And then just in general, you can imagine that if your pec minor is tight and pulling you forward, that's pushing everything forward, and that's putting a ton of strain through the top of the shoulders and the back of the neck. Now, to be clear, I am not saying that pec minor is the only muscle that you need to worry about. It's not going to 100% fix everything, and you can't ignore everything else in the system and get like perfect pain-free 100% results. I do have other videos that go into everything you need to think about for your neck and shoulder pain, and one of them is like your neck and shoulder pain checklist, which I will link in the description. But if we are looking to have the most impactful work in the smallest amount of time, or like the biggest bang for your buck, if you will, prioritizing making sure that your pec minor is not tight and pulling you over is going to give you an amazing amount of improvement for the effort, right? And you know, I'm very much about like, let's see, like how can we make the biggest strides in the least amount of time? So there's like a minimum, and then there's like ideal, you can do all these other things, but here's what will give you a lot of improvement without a lot of effort, right? And you've probably seen me say in other videos where I'm talking about neck and shoulder pain, and I'm saying do the door frame chest stretch or the wall chest stretch, that our clients, when they just do that and retest, they will often feel 30 to 70% better in their neck and shoulder pain immediately when they do it the way that we recommend, which is gently, not overly pulling on the muscles, because of how much of an impact pec minor can have on the alignment and position of your neck, shoulders, and upper body. That's the muscle you're stretching when you do the door frame stretch. You are getting pec major a little bit, but it's mostly pec minor. You are also stretching pec minor when you do cactus, like I talked about in last week's video, but you don't get it so much in the T shape, because when you're in cactus, you're opening that like kind of rotation this way, but in the T-stretch, it's really easy to still have an internal rotation in your shoulders. And I'm sure you've all seen the stretch where you bring your arms behind your back, right? And you like try to lift up. I've got the chair behind me, so I can't do it very well. Now, when you do that stretch, do you think you're stretching your pec minor? Like, just put your arms in that position if you can comfortably. You can see you're shortening your pec minor, so you're not stretching your pec minor in that position. It's one of the reasons I don't really recommend that chest stretch. So in general, whenever you see a chest stretch, try and think, is this getting pec minor or is it only getting pec major? Because you're going to get a better improvement if you're focusing on releasing pec minor for neck, shoulder, and upper back problems. Okay, so now you know our secret weapon, which hopefully won't be secret for long because I'd love everybody to know about this muscle and how much it can help the upper body. I would love to see you try it, try to incorporate it into your life, and let me know how it feels. As I mentioned, we have a free desk posture workshop that goes through not only how to make your desk posture feel better and more comfortable in a better alignment, but also gives you this stretch, like walks you through this stretch. The link is in the description below, so that you can practice it. And if you know anybody who has neck and shoulder pain, please do share this video with them. It's a very easy stretch to do, and if you start to incorporate it, hopefully you'll see as good of results as our clients do. As I mentioned before, if you've enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe if you'd like to see more. There's other details about how to get more information from us and our neck and shoulder pain guide in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video.